Hello, Clint here, Crimson Landscape, here to talk about your landscape design. All right, real quick, one thing I want to talk about is your pool. Okay, so on your pool itself, your pool, obviously, it's at grade. The grade is based on the grade of your back patio. So the pool height is generally based on that. So there's no step downs. At least I don't think there is in your application. Meaning the rest of the yard is going to be significantly lower than your pool deck. So as you're thinking about your landscape and your trees locations, think about the gap from the top of the coping down to the ground. My guess is going to be about 12 to 16 inches all the way around. So when you pick a tree or a plant, just know that the root ball of that plant is going to be, or the root or the base of that vase is going to be at least 12 to 16 inches below the pool height. So just think about that as we design this. There's other ways around that if you want to mitigate that. We certainly could add more concrete to lift that up. If you're not worried about it, then we're not worried about it. Just know, take that in consideration. I can add a whole bunch more gravel on the side to fill the side up so it's a lot less. In the back with the plants, we can't do that. Obviously, I can't add more gravel on stack above the root ball itself because it'll just kill the plant or tree in the back. Okay. So here is the first pass design. So the plants I picked, these are called, let me zoom in a little bit. These are called Eagleston Holly single trunks. So it's a single trunk. It's cut and shaped like a tree. So you can see the trunk down there. These are pretty fast growing plants. You'll get about anywhere from 12 to 18 inches per year growth, maybe a smidge more. Year 2, 3, and 4, you'll get a lot more growth than you will year 1 after planting. They come in 15 gallon, 30 gallon, and 45 gallon, and 65 gallon. Most of our clients install 30 gallon, just as kind of a good cost balance. We generally plant them 6 to 7 feet apart. Then we plant them in the center of whatever the space is in. So this is a 5-foot space, so we plant them in the middle. Obviously, these will grow slightly over the pole as the trees mature. We can shape these to where they're flat and they grow up, and eventually it grows into a hedge, or you can keep them in this triangular shape you see here. They do produce a berry for a really short period of time in winter, but it's not a berry. It's just a few amount. It's really not an issue in staining the pool. These are evergreen trees, so you'll have green all year long. It's really our go-to plant to hiding power lines, ugly backyards that may be on the other side of your property. What else can I tell you about this tree? It will drop a few leaves throughout the year, just the nature of any type of plant. They drop a few leaves. I think that's really it. It's a great tree. We install 100 of these a year probably because it's such a good plant. Okay, variegated lorope is the grass underneath it. This is a placeholder, and the reason this is a placeholder is until we really look at that delta between the pool deck and the ground, so the difference in elevation between here, what it ultimately ends up being, and the ground, I wouldn't get too in the weeds on what plant, if any, we put below. Because it may make sense just to put gravel below here and no plant just because it's a big difference. It may make sense to go with a taller plant underneath it, or a full to ground tree, just not sure yet. So these are a placeholder for now. Side yard over here, I just did gravel for now. We certainly could do turf if you want a bigger space, if you have the dog to do its business. May not be a bad option to do turf over here. Okay, let me back out a little bit. Obviously, this house is not designed perfectly. I want to get this out to you sooner than later. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me fix this. Excuse me. Let me do it this way, make life easier. Okay. We had a conversation about planters at your house when I was there. It's just anything you put in planters, I would treat it like a seasonal flower. Like if we're doing agaves or cactuses or boxwoods, treat them seasonal. Reason I say that is unless you're on top of making sure they're getting properly watered and we're setting up the irrigation and we're checking it 2, 3, 4 times a year, there's just a chance you'll lose plants in pots. It's just the nature of having plants in pots. We can do seasonal flowers as well. 4 times a year for seasonal flowers if you want to do that. It just kind of depends on what you want to go with. Agave havardiana or agave Wells tongue or agave neo-mexicana are going to be the 3 go-to. If you do any type of cactus, you could do a spineless cactus is a good one. We could do there's a couple other cactuses we could do. Some spirilleas is a good option. Then I did one with the boxwood, so you see what boxwoods look like. I wouldn't spend a significant amount of money on like the agave haverdiana 15-gallon. Those are like $300 a piece to put in something like this. So you just got to determine what's important to you. The chance of losing an agave are a lot lower than doing something like a boxwood. Only thing with the agave is I wouldn't plant in January. I think I would do everything and just have us come back in the spring and do the agaves. Let the risk of cold weather in February just pass. So you don't risk losing your agaves after we plant them. Okay, enough on that. We will install the sprinkler system, or we can install a sprinkler system just to water your pots if you want to go with seasonal or something like that. Don't forget to take in consideration, like I said, is this if we're going to do something like pots and the ground needs to be level, we'd pour concrete underneath it, would be support the base of your pots. The pot would sit on the concrete, and the grade next to it would need to be level or something. We'd have to overcome that depending on how you ultimately want to do it. Over here, let me flip this way. I did a endless summer hydrangea. Correction, I'm lying to you. It's a limelight hydrangea. The limelight hydrangea is a full sun hydrangea. It's got a really big white bloom, almost like a wedding dress white. Really, really pretty. Big fan of it. It gets nice, big, and full. Grows pretty fast. It also will die back in the winter, so it turns to sticks in the winter. So if we planted it in January, it would just be sticks, but then it'll just start blooming in spring. And probably by May, you'll have big fat blooms. If it's me, I would probably go with a 7-gallon for here, just so you have that nice big pop of color quick. You could also leave this here for a couple years and you decide to add a fountain over here if you want to add rocks over here and something different over here. What I would love to add here would be a Japanese maple. I just think this spot's going to get too much sun in the summer. Okay, along the patio, I did add a couple pots on the patio. These are self-contained pots. They don't require as much watering. What we can do is I can run tubing to stub up right through here, just next to the pot. The tube goes into the pot, and we have little bitty drip tubing in the pot to water the plants. It's a good option as you do it before we install the grass or turf. If you want plants on your patio, planters on your patio, then I'd recommend getting like a protective. I forgot what they're called. It's drawing a blank here. It's a plastic material that prevents from staining the pavers underneath a pot. Over here, I did a simple wall. There's a couple aluminum walls that you can pick from, or we can custom build a wood one, kind of depending on what goal what you're looking for. Because the pumps are over here and the air conditioner's over here, I'd probably go with something solid or an aluminum type wall just to hide it, because it's not going to be that pretty. And that close to the patio, you may want something solid as well to kind of mitigate some of the noise. Okay. What else can I talk about? Last two things is going to be the turf. So I selected an artificial turf for this area. It's such a small space. I would be a tough sell to put grass in here if you wanted real grass, just for the simple fact it's such a small space to mow. Along the fence, I think the grass is going to be very thin and lethargic, and it'll eventually die just because it's so close to the fence. And just the dog walking through it and causing drama with soil and material coming in the house. We could put a border right here and make this down here steel edge. Kind of up to you. If you were to go with real grass over here, what I would say we'd do is put a border here and make this gravel or a river rock. This would be gravel, river rock along the pool pump air conditioners. This would be grass or turf, and this would be river rock, of course, or gravel. If we're doing artificial, I'd make this whole thing turf just to keep it easy and a little bit more usable space for the dog to do its business. The turf we have is pet-friendly turf. I'll talk about this in another video, or we jump on a Zoom call and talk about the final details of how I would do it and what the turf looks like. And the last bit of it is going to be the lights. Okay, you can never have too many lights for your outdoor space. As mentioned on site, we use a color-changing RGBW light called it's a low voltage LED light. RGBW means red, green, blue, white. You walk up to it, you have a little remote control, you hit a button, it dims the light, turns the light off, changes the light color, or softens the light, makes it brighter, however you want to do it. So right now I have lights on your pots and lights on the 4 trees in back, then a light in the corner over here. We also have fence sconces that look really pretty. So we can put a fence sconce over here if you wanted to on your gate right here, which looks really pretty. And if you want light over here. For outdoor entertaining, you almost, like I said, I can't emphasize enough, light is where it's at. All right, so let me go into option number 2 real fast. Option number 2, the only difference in option number 2 is I went with a slender silhouette sweet gum. It's going to be that tall, skinny tree. Symmetry matters, so these are 5 feet apart, and I centered it off the pole. So obviously this is the middle of the pole here. Then I put 5 in there, and I just dropped some simple plant here as a placeholder. When you go with something like this, over time it's going to fill the whole space, so you can't put any plants below it. It's just going to make it nice and fat. The slender silhouette sweet gum is it's a great tree. I have 3 at my house. They're going to turn a beautiful color of orangey red in fall and drop their leaves. So you would not have leaves from December through March. March, leaves will start blooming. These will grow quite quickly. Mine have doubled in size, and I've had mine since 2018, and mine now are probably 30 feet tall. They're giant. They're beautiful. In the same thing over here, it's just going to be river rock or gravel, and I just did some boxwoods as just to show you an example of what it would look like. So big decision point for the both of you is going to be really where you want pots, how many pots you want, the ultimate decision on how we overcome the difference in elevation. If we're going to go with trees in the back or a slender silhouette sweet gum like you see here, of course lights, then artificial turf versus grass. This video is not to be the end-all be-all of everything that just for you to make decisions. It's to spark a conversation to move in the direction you think you want to go. And once you kind of narrow it down, again, we can jump on a Zoom call to narrow down the details, talk about turf versus grass, the lights that make the most sense, maybe a few of the plant options as well. All right, let me pause there, send this over to you, and let you take a look. If you have any questions, please let us know. If you're a first-time guest seeing one of our videos, you can check us out at crimsonlandscape.com.